There's the QR code for your CPD training. Thank you, Charlotte. I do apologise. But yeah, let's remember these. Next up, I'm going to invite, again, a friend and colleague from Milestone, Phil Raven, who will be, I'm sure he might mention graphene as well. I'm not sure if he does or not. But yeah, I'd like to welcome Phil on stage.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name's Phil Raven. I'm the head of technical design at Milestone Infrastructure. On our Oxfordshire Highways contract. And I'm very pleased to be here at the Innovation Festival again this year and to talk about a few of the low carbon innovations that we've been doing. So I'm just going to briefly introduce you to Oxfordshire Highways and then explaining a little bit about how as a partnership we've approached the challenges of carbon reduction. And I'm going to use a few showcase projects to explain how we've achieved that and finish with a few conclusions on some key success factors that I think are important in making progress on this vital issue. So Oxfordshire Highways is a highways services partnership contract between Oxfordshire County Council and Milestone Infrastructure, running since 2010. And we look after over 3,000 miles of highway, 2,000 miles of footway, and over 1,000 bridges. The contract covers the full range of highway services, from routine and cyclical maintenance, capital works, emergency response, and through to design and professional services. So some years back, Oxfordshire County Council and Milestone had set ambitious carbon reduction targets as part of their strategic priorities. Carbon reduction plan was established to try and make significant short-term progress towards meeting some of the targets that have been set. And a few years ago, they were then built into the objectives of a framework alliance contract set up between OCC, Milestone, and our key supply chain. And since then, we've set up a partnership carbon reduction group to try and make progress with this plan and to try and monitor progress. So we established 4 focus areas, as you can see on the screen, with working groups for each, including staff from our clients, OCC, and Milestone, and some of our supply chain in the areas of design, materials, depots, and plant and fleet. And over the last few years, they've been then developing and progressing some of the top priorities in each of those areas, which have then been updated each year as we sort of learn more on this journey. Alongside that, we've set up a simple innovation process to try and identify and research new innovations, and then trial and evaluate before deciding whether to embed these innovations in sort of our business as usual work. And through that, I think we've also learned the importance of sharing the lessons learned within our organisations, but also externally as well, which encourages further ideas and gains more momentum in delivering innovation. And I think we recognise that we always learn more by sharing, hence why we're here today at this event and why I'm standing here. In order to try and monitor our progress on our carbon reduction plan, we've developed a carbon clearing to try and capture the savings that we've made in each of those 4 focus areas. And through that, we've been able to demonstrate carbon savings of 6,700 tonnes of CO2 over the last 2 years. Last year, we had some workshops to look at how we implement past 2080, the carbon management infrastructure standards within the partnership. And as one of the outcomes from that is we agreed to set up a carbon valuation approach in order to provide a financial value against carbon savings, so we could help evaluate whether a particular carbon-saving innovation was going to represent value for money or not. Now, whilst this is quite difficult to do, when some innovations maybe offer other environmental benefits or maybe health and safety benefits, it does help us to understand the carbon benefits of new innovations in hopefully a fairly objective way. So the first of our showcase innovation projects that I'd like to talk very briefly about is what we completed last year to reconstruct a lay-by in Wantage. And this was a relatively small project, but it was agreed it would be a good opportunity to trial various products and techniques in a lower risk environment and one that could also be easily monitored. We undertook a carbon assessment to evaluate the success of each of the innovations that we trialled, alongside other feedback from the site team on things like buildability and any pros and cons of using the products. We can certainly talk to you more about those innovations on our stand, But overall, the exercise demonstrated a 46% saving in carbon through the 10 innovations that we adopted, and showed what could be achieved in a relatively small scheme, rather than just focusing on carbon savings on big projects. And the second showcase project I'd like to briefly mention is the trials that we've been undertaking using GPAVE. We get in the previous presentation explained about using graphene. This is also containing graphene. It's a polymeric asphalt modifier developed by an Italian company, Itachemica, and it incorporates graphene with selective recycled hard plastics. And it's produced in pellet form, which is then added at batching plant into any type of asphalt. And the aim of this material, unsurprisingly, is to increase the durability of the pavement, to give full life benefits in terms of carbon and cost. We've undertaken 3 schemes in Oxfordshire to date using this material. And on the first one, we've recently gone back and undertaken FWD monitoring and analysis of the first scheme to try and understand better how it's performing in service. Whilst it's still fairly early on in its service life, this is around about 4 or 5 years old now, we've attained some really positive results from that analysis, showing a substantial increase in the lifespan of the pavement to over 40 years compared to a sort of 15 year using standard materials. And that gives then a corresponding all-right carbon saving in the region of about 40%. Then the most recent trial we've undertaken sort of last year was to compare GPAVE alongside some proprietary high-performance PMB asphalts that we currently use in some locations where extra durability is needed. I've still got to do some ongoing monitoring with that scheme, but the initial analysis of the post-construction testing was also quite positive, potentially giving a 20% increase in life and 20% reduction in carbon compared to these other very high-performance asphalts, showing that both have a place if the whole life carbon approach is considered. And that's been one of the kind of key things we've been trying to look at. And a few months ago, we recently met with some other organisations within the UK who either had been or considering trialling GPAVE to share detailed findings from our trials, which will help understand how we can best use GPAVE in the future on the Oxfordshire network. And then finally, we'd like to also briefly mention about the trial we undertook last year, the Highways Maintenance Innovation Trial, or commonly known as the Oxfordshire Upfront Trial, basically selecting a particular road, Honey in Oxfordshire, and trialling a range of new and existing defect repair techniques, plant and materials. Whilst we'd used some of them before, we were fairly familiar with some of them. The aim was to allow us to then monitor follow the works to help compare performance on the same stretch of road and get feedback from all the for the gangs involved in the project and on the new products and how they performed and any advantages and disadvantages. We've since then done some comparison with the innovations, and you can recognise that there's not a single solution to repairing potholes, but try to look at it in terms of durability, value for money, and sort of type of application and carbon saving. And we've also took the opportunity to trial an electric gang, so using EV vehicles and EV plant. And the aim of this trial is to try and help inform OCC's future defect repair strategy and look at how we can reduce carbon and improve efficiency in filling potholes. We also invited councillors and other council officers and members of the public to the event, so that was a good chance to educate and inform them as well around some of the new developments and some of the challenges of keeping the network pothole free. So to finish with, I'd like to just share a few key ingredients, if you like, of what we've learned that are needed if we're going to meet the challenge set by most local authorities and many companies like Milestone in terms of carbon reduction in highways. Firstly, it requires commitment from all partners, certainly at the leadership level, but also shared with the rest of the organisation, really treating carbon reduction with the same focus as maybe other priorities in our industry. We found that having a clear plan and specific targets really helps to drive progress. It's a fast evolving area in the industry, so we've recognised that it's impossible to get everything 100% right first time with any plan, but it's better to start with something and then adapt and evolve it as our understanding improves. There's certainly lots of claims and statements within the industry about carbon savings and net zero. So it's often quite difficult to evaluate where to focus on carbon reduction. So we found that analysis of the carbon data on our schemes and activities is really crucial to understanding where the hotspots are and what relative savings are achievable between different innovations. And accepting the challenges that are faced by most local authorities when it comes to limited maintenance budgets. And then to achieve progress, the collaboration is essential. And I guess the reason why you're here today is for that very reason, for collaboration. But through designers, for construction teams, through their supply chains, really if you can achieve that, and that's really helps to identify and evaluate new innovations. And I've mentioned earlier, we've always found that we learn more by sharing what we've done. And then by doing that, that will really help understand risks of doing something different. And it's essential to try and evaluate, and at times they take measured risks. If we just stick to what we've always done, then we won't be meeting any of the net zero targets that our industry needs to deliver on. So I've only been able to cover a very brief summary of some of the work we've been doing on carbon reduction. Do come and speak to us on stand 32, which is over at the end of the aisle over there, where we've got case studies on the projects that I've spoken about, as well as other areas. We're doing a lot of work on around circular value and collaboration, and we can try and answer your questions. And you could also take away that Milestone plant a tree box to try and plant a tree in your garden, or maybe one of your hybrid things. Thanks for listening, and I welcome any questions that you may have. If you come and speak to me afterwards, I'll be here all day. Thank you.